I hope you've been looking good, feeling good, smelling good, eating good, drinking good, thinking good thoughts, having a good time, sharing good energy with good people and good places, doing good things. Let's see. Per usual, want to find my live. Hmm, Before I get started. There we go. Okay. Now confirmed all the details that I needed to. I'll get started. So, spiritual contracts. Some people may not think they have them, but if you look at every relationship, that you have serves a purpose in your life. But the biggest spiritual contracts that most people end up trying to break are ones of a romantic nature, sometimes familial nature, but usually it's the romantic ones, sometimes friends. Now, honestly, the best way to break a contract, especially a spiritual contract, is, by mutual consent. But that's often hard because the person has to wholeheartedly agree with this, you know, separation, this conclusion, because it's literally concluding it. So, what is the biggest struggle with that part? Because I want to consult the cards too with respect to, like, why is this mutual consent? Ooh, okay, and that's what I thought too. Was because a lot of times it's a sign that you're standing up for yourself. Okay, so a lot of times the reason why people have such an issue is because it is you showing that you're standing up for yourself. Also because while somebody may be, pretending or may seem as though they're like, yeah, no, that's cool, let's break this contract. Me personally, I've been there several times where it's like you break up with somebody and you're like, okay, well, let's not call each other anymore, let's stay away from each other, blah 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 blah, and you guys like totally agree to that, but then somebody, regardless of who it is, because even if a person comes back and text messages you after, years or months or whatever, however long these periods of disconnection take place. The hardest part is people are oftentimes not able to stand up for themselves when the person comes back around. So I want that to be the clearest part is wholeheartedly. Give us some help with the wholehearted. Thank you for the collectives. You don't have to justify it either. Ooh, yeah, guilt free. You don't need to justify your reason. You don't need to communicate anything to anybody other than yourself, because that's where it matters, right? All of the agreements with the self, just like this contract, right? That's the only part that you need to be worried about. So that's the biggest problem we have with the mutual consent. You don't know, you really don't know if the person has wholeheartedly agreed to it themselves. Sometimes that can be seen that they haven't, by the fact that somebody might come back 6 months later and be like, well, I've been messaging you for 6 months and you've been ignoring me. You've got to go beyond whatever your previous parameters were, and you've got to go for that duration of resisting to really be in the right for a disconnection. Okay. All right, so then the next part, in order to be in the correct position to um, cancel a spiritual contract or break a spiritual contract, or to present the right energy for it, because again, it takes time, right? It's not like you do this and that and the other and it's done. No, it takes time, just like it took time to develop, right? To exist. So, to be in the correct position to cancel a spiritual contract, you need to examine and understand the lessons, right? So what's the lesson that you need to learn? Is it about codependency? Is it about, look, is it about, um, you know, really, like, if you feel like you're such a good person and you keep ended up with these dogs, you need to look at the things that you're actually accepting, sometimes. Because for me, my pride really got in the way, because it was like, well, I'm not a bad person and I deserve love. And this person, he knew from the gate he was still messing around with his baby mamas. You knew from the gate. That's what I had to tell myself. Like, girl, you knew from the gate. That's why you were suspicious. So again, you don't really need to justify yourself in that, but you do need to be clear on that. Your merit making is solely with you and your higher power, whether that higher power be yourself, whether that higher power be God, whether it be, the ancestors, whatever, and each person is is gifted with the free will to choose who that is and how that looks in their life, right? Who the higher power is for them. Okay? So don't let anybody confine you to their one way of thinking. Mine started very spiritually with Christianity as the basis. And I knew that taking spiritual baths and yoni steams and stuff like that should be helpful, which is where I started. Yoni steams and, really heavy spiritual baths, which I only offer to people that I work with personally because everything is unique, right? All of your memories and the things that you need to forgive of yourself and of the other people involved, all of those lessons have to come into play. Like, okay, so what is it that I need to learn from this person? If you have someone in your life that's constantly like, oh, well, when you calm down and when you're ready to talk about it, we can take the time. You have to learn what that energy is and how that energy is praying against you or on you and what you need to do, which is going to be this next part, this boundaries. So realize that your merit making is only with you. A lot of it is going back. Oh yeah, that memory card keeps coming up. A lot of it is going back and recreating the memories that you have. So basically changing your experience. Ooh, so maybe in situations even where you felt there was a loss of this or that or the other, is accepting the loss or figuring out why the loss isn't really a loss. Because if you think about it, everything is always working in our favor, right? Out for our best interest. So that's maybe the stinking thinking that needs to change. Change the memory to versus it looking like a loss where you're saying, well, no, because if I really want a healthy relationship, I would have to have let go of the bum guy, right? Or the bum female, right? Okay. So that's how that part works. Understanding the lessons. Setting intention. Let me get another set of cards for this one. Setting intention, I feel like, is the hardest one because we want what we want, right? But you have to learn how to set your intention with respect to healthy things for the current moment. The intention needs to be focused solely on the health of the current moment and then the progression of that health. A lot of people tend to look at it as like, oh, okay, once I finish this, I can get a new lover. You are your new lover, or God is your new lover, or the universe is, or something like that. But it really can't extend further than that. It can't be an actual another additional human being. Now, I will give this small caveat. When you have children, those contracts are different, and those are always made out of, just pure love, 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 back forth, and they do grow and evolve, right? As your children get older. So do not hesitate that if you have children, definitely embrace those outlets. You may find the same energy in those until you've healed though too. So just so you know. But let's see. So intentions, setting intentions, performing rituals, and creating a sacred space. Some people may not be able to create an actual space. When I started this, I got a pretty rug and I put a lot of soft pillows on it. And then I started collecting my little crystals, and I would put a candle or something to burn an incense. So you can start small, even if you're just creating a space, in a corner or a quiet chair where you might sit and start your day with your coffee. It's just all about having a special place where you constantly go to for that quiet moment. Because you're going to need to set your intention every single day, and even sometimes throughout the day, in order to kind of move through it. Because it's not like you only think about whatever it is that you're trying to remove from your life or replace in your life. It's not like you only thought about those things ever so often. They were constant in your life, or you wanted them to be, right? So, all right. So intentions, rituals. There we go. Rituals. Nice. All right. This ritual is the Knight of Swords. So taking motion, maybe even in instances where people are being opinionated, or maybe where you given haste, you need to set an intention. Ooh. So Spirit's saying, like, if you've ever struggled with like, oh, okay, well, I don't want to do with this and I don't want to do with that. It's not about the sage and the incense and this. It's the intention. So if you don't feel comfortable lighting sage, do what you feel most comfortable with. Don't worry about what other people might think too, is what I'm seeing here. especially with that creating a sacred space, because that sacred space is for you. Yeah. Then there's the world card after that. Absolutely seeing that right now. Because without creating that sacred space, without getting into that motion of like, the reasons are yours alone. Again, right? The guilt-free energy. The reasons are your alone. That's what I'm seeing here coming out again in the Knight of Swords. And that's the only way to completion. Ooh, yeah. Seven of Pentacles too. Like I was saying, it takes time. That showed up here, right here with the Seven of Pentacles. It does take time, you know. I'm gonna cover up her bosom. It does take time. So just to be patient while this unfolds, but definitely as you're approaching this current full moon is when you need to be in the process of mentally examining. Oh, here's another ritual that they put in a song long time ago. You gotta wash that man right out of your hair. You gotta wash that. See what I mean? It's symbolic of exactly what we're talking about. Taking a spiritual bath, wash the man right out of your hair. You got to stick with this. You got to understand that, like, don't be afraid of ritualistic things either, because I feel like some people are, and you needn't be. So, and again, at your own level, your ritual may be just to start every morning by reading affirmations, you know, to encourage yourself, dancing while you do it, whatever it is. I feel like I say this a lot. Okay. Now, let's see. There's a lot of different things. The inner work. Let's see. Oh, okay. So as you're releasing people, so if you decide, okay, I'm gonna take a spiritual bath, and you know, get all whatever it's to set the intention. So the room, you know, needs to be clean and set an ambiance, maybe even put on specific type of music, whatever that is to you, because some people might put on romantic jazz because they really got to love themselves. Some people might put on chakra balancing. You know, it's really about you and what you feel most comfortable with. Some people may put bubbles, some people may put rose petals. It's all about what means the most to you. The intention when you're taking spiritual baths is to wash all of that stuff off of you from the beginning to the end. Okay? A lot of people will help you with spiritual baths by letting you know you have to take a shower before you take your bath, because it's not about being physically clean. So be physically clean before you take your bath, so that your spirit and your mind and your body is all aware that that part is already clean, and that this cleansing is for something more deep, something intentional. Ooh, yeah. This was in the reverse, and I feel like that may have been something that's been keeping people from really feeling like they're taking a spiritual bath and it's actually doing anything, because this was in the reverse. So maybe there's also a lot of different herbs that you're supposed to be using, but again, I'm not here to tell you what they are, because I don't know what the person is struggling with. You know, I don't know what they're battling, you know, at this point in time, because there's different herbs for different things. So that's why I say I work with people, because what I do is not generic. You know, you can't just box it all up and it be the same, because healing isn't linear. You know, somebody is healing codependency and another person is healing, you know, independence, you know, hyper independency. So anyway, so do everything. This last part is do nothing with anger or malicious intent, only with the desire to cleanse, heal, and move forward. That's also a part of you setting boundaries, because that's a huge part of it. Being respectful of others, of the fact that whatever they did, that's their thing, right? You don't have to agree with what they did. You don't have to like it, but you respect the fact that they have free will too. And if their free will told them to do something so stupid, that's on them. But set those boundaries. So this is the huge part. Like we were saying at the beginning, block the person's phone number. Then they can't come back around 6 months later. Block them on social media, you know. Block their email address. Sometimes being able to block them in a space prior to them blocking you will even help you feel better. It may help you feel like you have the upper hand. And that may be all that you need to wield that confidence. You know what I mean? So don't discount any of this. You know, I used to sit and I didn't know, like when my ex used to pop up, and this was like, this the last person that I, traveled and, did things with. And I just knew that we were like becoming the Brady Bunch and all of this. And so when it all broke up for me, it was just kind of like, well, how do I get this person off my head and, out of my head? I used to sit pressing my foot into the ground in my car, into the bottom of my car, and thinking over and over again, like, no, I'm getting the upper hand. Because sometimes these things will help. Sometimes they really do. And I just kept pressing my foot, like, no, I'm stomping this energy out of my life. Sometimes you do. I mean, not sometimes. That's a part of it. That's a part of it at the end of the day. But keeping those boundaries is huge.
How many legs does bunny have?
How many legs? 4, I think. Okay. Um, yeah, clearing out that energetic space too. Like if you hold on to anything that anybody has, of somebody else's, that's a part of it too. You don't have to allow them the opportunity to come back and get things. When they decided they ended it, they hat went, they coat went, they shoes, all of the stuff went with it. Not in a malicious way, but just in a way of clearing yourself. I remember I had an ex that, this is the same ex I'm going to keep bringing up probably about this, but I had this ex who brought me tons of leggings. And I loved wearing leggings all the time because it was easy. And I already had them because he bought me a bunch of them. And, I got shirts to match. And it was the best thing. But in order for me to really ventilate my space, ventilate my life, ventilate my heart, ventilate my, crotch, was I needed to get rid of all of the leggings, get rid of, the gifts that he bought previously, stuff like that. Um, you know, we had stockings. I had to get rid of the Christmas stockings because those were the ones that I bought for my families to match his families and stuff like that. So there was a whole process, and that is cathartic. All of these things are cathartic. And again, when doing them without anger or malicious intent, only with the desire to cleanse and heal and move forward, that's what helps you get into that energy of understanding how to create respectful boundaries for yourself. So respectful boundaries that are needed to be addressed for. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Ooh. Okay. I could see how this would come out. A part of it is not being upset with yourself for allowing someone to come up and to clearly not being the person that you were supposed to be with, but that you took it on and you tried and you saw all the warning signs and you knew this person wasn't right for you. It's fine. A part of that is forgiving yourself. A huge part of cleansing yourself and being able to move forward is to let go of shame. Shame is like, it's a part of the fear attachment, right? Because shame also, begets anger too. So sometimes it's a mixture of the two, like the shame that you have and the anger that you have with yourself about, this strike energy. But strikes in bowling are good, right? So this is the 10 of Pentacles. It's kind of like, well, understanding that, accepting that, creating these boundaries, doing this work is what leads you to this 10 of Pleasures, 10 of Pentacles energy. So that's the focus, where the focus should be for right now with respect to breaking these contracts, getting into the right energy. You need to harness this moon. This is a full moon. Write things down, burn them. The energy of the moon is Mars right now, so it has a lot to do with fire. If you want to write down people that you're letting go of, whatever you want to write down. You want to write down, I want to let go of being jealous, and I want to be let go of being insecure, and I want to let go of being, naive, and I want to whatever it is. Whatever it is. Whatever you feel like the boundaries need to be set for your heart, for your mind, for your emotional well-being and the health of you. Those are all the things that you need to evaluate to be in the right position to cancel a soul contract, to eliminate anyone being able to tether you back in. Because again, it takes time. So now between the 16th is when you need to work on these processes and actually put the things in place. Blocking people, cutting off, not talking about them. Not, when you think about them, find something very designated to focus your mind on. Like a few years back, I had somebody constantly trying to penetrate my mental energy because they were always thinking about me. So every time this person would pop into my head, I would think about a ring light. And I had a ring light, and so I just look at the ring light and just focus on the ring light. Ooh, that's a ring light. That ring light is a circle. That ring light has white on the front and black on the back. That ring light has a post. That ring light has a stand. Just whatever. Because remove the thought, right? I forgot what the hell we was talking about. We were talking about ring light, wasn't we? See what I'm saying? So that's the whole process that you need to embrace, because that's how you end up guilt free. That's how you end up getting what you want after all your patience. So I hope that this has been helpful and insightful in some way, shape, or form. I gotta go find out the answer to the question that I just answered for my daughter but wasn't sure about. But I hope that this has been helpful with knowing what to do right now. Again, if you have more questions, if you feel like your situation is a little bit more extreme or requires more in-depth insight, then my email is open. I don't mind helping, um, especially for people who want the help, who want to remove, soul ties, who want to remove, karmic, who want to get out of karmic loops or connections. Um, fancygranola goddess at gmail.com. Catch you in the next one. Later.